Welcome to Azor, the Lawbringer, the Banhammer. If you're keeping score at home, as far as our opening hand goes, yes, we will keep on this one. We have 2 lands, and we have Search for Azcanta. I will definitely take that. I just got done recording Azor, the Lawbringer, so I don't know how I'm going to splice these videos together, but it's a little bit rough on getting some mana, but that's how magic goes sometimes. That does happen. So let's go ahead and lead off with, I guess, a Plains? I guess it's not really going to matter because Glacial Fortress come to play untapped either way next turn. So anything else, we're going to go and pass the turn over to our opponent. But yes, welcome to Azor the Banhammer. I hope you're excited to ban everything on our opponent's side of the battlefield. That is what we're going for today. We're playing Azor, the Lawbringer, bringer of all law. The Banhammer. Injured by Big Bear, call Azor. Flying, whenever Azor enters the battlefield. This is so dumb. Let's have Glacial Fortress come down. Let's go for... Uh-oh. That was a rough Glacial Fortress. Let's go for Search for Azcanta. It kind of like staggered for a second on my end. I don't know if it'll go through on the video, but it's kind of like playing Glacial Fortress was a little too hard on the system or something like that. Anything else, pass it back over to the opponent. So we're playing Azor the Lawbringer. Flying. Whenever Azor enters the battlefield, each opponent can't cast instant or sorcery spells during that player's next turn. Then whenever Azor attacks, you may pay Sphinx Revelation. If you do, you gain X life and you draw X cards, which is what we are 100% leaning towards. Yes. No, we will not put that in the graveyard. We actually do like that. That's going to be a very good option for us. Let's go Nimbus Maze, because we've got a fresh grip, and that's going to allow us, well, we could go for Detention Sphere on Signet. Oh, and excuse me, if you heard that burp, Loretta is sitting on my lap. She's my production assistant, and so I'm kind of bouncing my leg. And so I guess I freed up a burp right there. All right, so we drew 2 cards. It's going to be Worn Power Stone and Hollowed Fountain. I feel like we're kind of far away from Spell Swindle. Actually, yeah, let's get rid of Sword of Feast and Famine. You know, I do like Worn Power Stone. I do like Hollowed Fountain. Imprison in the Mood, Detention Sphere is very nice, because those are both just guaranteed removal. I guess at this point, let's get rid of Impulse, because typically with Impulse or like a card advantage source, what we're looking for is some sort of way to kind of deal with threats on the battlefield. And since we do have Detention Sphere and Imprison in the Mood, we're in a pretty good spot. So let's go for more Power Stone. Anything else, we're going to pass the turn over to our opponent. Play gets to Tibor and Lumia. Sorry. Hey, I'm dyslexic, and so when it comes to pronouncing names for the first time, I'm always like, And so, anyway, TNL. Let's call him TNL for the video. Whenever you cast a blue spell, target creature gains flying until end of turn. Then, whenever you cast a red spell, TNL does 1 damage to each creature without flying. So, if you ever wonder why I mispronounce stuff all the time, I've never been diagnosed with it, but it sounds a lot like I do have dyslexia. Like, I get vowels mixed up in my head, and especially, if I'm at the house, I can sound it out, but like when I'm recording, I kind of have that moment where I'm just like, I think about all the comments that are going to start rolling in about, yeah, it's supposed to say it this way. I know, baby. It just happens sometimes. It's magic. All right, so we've got Search for Azcanta. That's going to be Arcane Denial on top of our library. If we're trying to cash a Spell Swindle, I think we're okay. Let's go and put that in the graveyard, because we do kind of want to get that to flip at some point. And we do have Detention Sphere and Imprison in the Moon. At this point, I'd kind of like to hold on to them just to kind of see what our opponent's going to end up going for. So let's have Aired Mace. Actually, let's shock in Hollowed Fountain. We're going to pay 2 life, and let's go for Azor the Lawbringer. That's going to be blue, double white, and 2 colorless mana from Worn Power Stone. It's going to cut them off any sort of instant or sorceries, and this puts us in a position to where we can really start to go for those Sphinx Revelation. We've got 2 answers in our hand. We've kind of got a hard counter spell and Spell Swindle. Not the best counter to be relying on, but man, if you've never lived the dream of going for Spell Swindle with an open Azor, that is one of the best feelings in the world. So we did cover both commanders. The official sponsor spiel. We're going to have some fun. Welcome. If you're keeping a score at home, it's officially free time. Let's have some fun. But yeah, I've got my production assistant, Loretta. She's on my knee right now, or at least on my thigh. And she's enjoying just taking in both monitors as she watches. And I'm playing with her hand. She's playing back with mine. But yeah, if you don't know, my wife and I, we had a baby back in November. And it's been a lot of fun. There's been the first night we got back, we were just it was like this piece of glass that we were scared to touch because it would break. And we've become such better parents over the course of 3 months. You really kind of learn to squish your anxieties and squish your worries and stuff like that. So that's definitely what we've been doing now. And We definitely got the hang of it, so it's a lot of fun. We are watching. We're doing a lot of precautionary stuff as far as coronavirus with her. Thankfully, I did see on a documentary. That gives it shroud, so that's gonna get the clock going. But our opponent's actually gonna hold them back, so that's actually pretty good. Sphinx Revelation. Nah, we'll put that on top of our library. Not gonna put that into the graveyard. We want that real bad. So let's have Arid Mesa come down. And yeah, that's going to be good. Now, if we do want to make sure that our opponent's not doing anything gnarly, we can go Imprison in the Mood on Clout, and then we can go Detention Sphere on T and L. So I think at this point, what we're going to do is we're just going to leave up Sphinx Rev, go for some card draw, and then we're going to go and pass the turn over to our opponent. So let's see what this spell is. We do have Spell Swindle, which is almost kind of like a way where it's like a free Sphinx Revelation. So that's going to be Chaos Warp on Azor. Which I'm really not worried about that. I mean, because one of the things that we want to do is hold up, the Sphinx Revelation on the card. But since we don't need to do that, we've got it in our hand. Then we can just do. There we go. I was about to say we could run into a Mana Crypt. That we do run into a Mana Crypt. So there we go, baby. This is very nice. Oh yeah, we will take that because we've got a very nice Sphinx Revelation set up here in just a second. So we'll cash in that card draw, and that should. Usually a Sphinx Revelation for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Sphinx Revelation for 6 or 7 is very backbreaking for our opponent. So we'll see what we can do, and especially with us having Spell Swindle, because basically it just kind of turns that into just a free counter spell, because we can immediately cash in those treasure tokens and then figure out how we want to kind of do up the back end. So, but yeah, as far as Azor the Banhammer goes, give a big shout out to Jim Adler, the Texas Law, the Banhammer. If you're injured by a big rig, make sure that you call Jim Adler. He's Texas tough, or his Spanish commercials, in which he does zero effort into doing any sort of pronunciation. Yo soy el abogado, Jim Adler, the Texas Hammer. I know, baby. It's very, very just ugh. All right, so we got Bloodseeker enters the battlefield whenever a creature dies again and gets first strike. Okay, yeah, that's fine. So we'll let that damage go on through. That's just a little 2-drop creature that we were not really that worried about. So that's going to be 5 in the air. The main thing is we want to get this Sphinx Revelation going. It's been a long time since I cast Sphinx Revelation, and so I am very excited about that. So they're going to be swinging in for 5. That's going to put us down to 23. That's going to be 5 total commander damage. Just going to crack this Arid Mesa. We do have to watch out for a counter spell. If they tap down that blue mana, that would feel good. But either way, if we end up losing Sphinx Revelation, it's not the end of the world to a counter spell, because then that gets rid of the counter spell, and then allows us to go double removal next turn, which is pretty much what we want to see. So let's go to our end step. And then once we go to our end step, we're going to go for the Sphinx Revelation. And then that's going to allow us to gain some life and cash in some card draw and just really kind of go from there. But yeah, if they do have a counter spell for Sphinx, that's perfectly fine, because then we can really kind of clear up their board state next turn. So let's see if they let us go. There we go. Go to the end step. Let's go ahead and go Sphinx Revelation. And it's going to be white. That's going to be blue, 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 and then lucky off this Mana Crypt. Oh yeah, look at that. X is going to be 6, so we're going to go for the counter. There we go. Opponent doesn't have anything. No sort of answer. So that is, that's some good magic right there. Let's get that Mana Crypt trigger on the stack. We even got Tezzeret, which is going to be active very soon. So that's going to be pretty good for us. So let's have that search for Azcanta. Yeah, we're going to put that in the graveyard for right now. Yes, that will get Azcanta to flip. Let's go for Tails on this Mana Crypt trigger, baby. Yep, won the flip. Thank you very much. She told me to pick Tails, which very nice. Thank you. So let's have Temple of the False God come down. And I guess at this point, we can just destroy all creatures with converted mana cost 3 or less. I think that's a pretty good option. Then we can just follow it up with Tezzeret and start cashing in some card draw. That sounds good. Yeah, let's do that, because we can just leave the single removal. So let's go destroy all creatures. Yeah, because we're just going to go for just a board wipe on this one. That's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. We just want to slow roll them just a little bit. Put them into spots where they need to be doing some other stuff. And that's going to leave just enough mana to go for Tezzeret too. And we can leave it Path to Exile. So we're going to destroy all the creatures out there. If they do have some sort of answer, we've got Force of Negation to stop that. But it looks like they didn't. So let's go 1, 2. And then that's going to be Island. island, and then one more. So at this point right now, since we don't have that coveted third artifact, what we're going to do is we're actually just going to go ahead and plus up on Tezzeret. It does a couple different things, gives us an additional blocker. Then it also does allow us to just start cashing in insane card draw next turn. That's what makes Tezzeret so good, especially in an artifact deck like this, is that we're using a lot of artifacts to ramp. And so being able to get Tezzeret down and then simply just get it down for 5 mana and go for a 0 ability. It's almost better than Jason. I mean, it's not better than Jason Mind Sculptor. You have to have a board state that does something that's set up for the artifacts. But once you have that Metalcraft going, which if you're playing a control deck, you're going to want to have a lot of artifacts to begin with anyway. That's a pretty good feeling. So anything else, we're going to go and pass the turn over to our opponent. We do have Path to Exile open. That's going to allow us to kind of stop something from our opponent. We do have Force of Negation in our opening, not our opening hand, in our hand too, that's going to allow us to counter a non-creature spell if it's not our turn. So, since we have so much mana at this point right now, we'll probably just get rid of Spell Swindle with the Force of Negation if that does come up. So we're pretty much covered at this point right now. And then once we get Tezzeret going, we'll be able to go from there. Now with Imprison in the Moon, we might end up going for Is It Signet if we just want to slow roll some of that mana. It just kind of depends on what's going to be. All right, opponent's going to scoop it up on this one. Oh, I just see it. With your colors laying hand size, the game is over. Yes, 100%. That's there's a lot of times where once you have that much mana, and then once you have just like 7 cards in your hand, that is game. That's the name of the game, though, with Azor. There's a lot of times where you're playing control. You get as many mana rocks on the battlefield, as much card draw as possible going, and then that allows you to just get to a point to where there's just nothing that you can do to kind of stop that. So, good game to our opponent. Really enjoyed playing against them, and if you enjoyed the video, hey, like and subscribe. Thanks, bye. Welcome to Azor, the Ban Hammer. As far as opening hand goes, we have one land. Man, if we had 2 lands, I would keep on this in a heartbeat. But if we don't hit that second land for Search for Azcanta, kind of in a rough spot. So let's go and mulligan on this one. And that is going to be kind of in the same boat. Let's go one more mulligan. And yes, we will keep on this one in a heartbeat. So, cards that we want to put on the bottom right now. Let's go and put Entreat the Angels on the bottom. Yes, well, we can't cast it yet. We don't have enough white mana. Let's put that on the bottom. And then I kind of do like Fumigate. I do want to ramp out pretty quick. So I guess let's put Oblivion Ring on the bottom. All right, there we go. I like that. It's going to allow us to get off to a pretty quick start. Let's go for Island. Let's go Mana Crypt. There we go. Let's get that bad boy out there. And then let's go for Thought Vessel. Boom, boom. Look at that. We're having some fun. Anything else? Let's go ahead and pass the turn over to our opponent. We're playing Azor, the Lawbringer, or the Ban Hammer. Flying, whenever Azor, the Ban Hammer, enters the battlefield, each opponent can't cast instant or sorcery spells during that player's next turn. Then, whenever Azor attacks, you may Sphinx Revelation. You gain X life and draw X cards. So, pretty nice. Yeah, I know. Getting that life gain's pretty good, baby. And also, if you may have noticed, that's not my cat. That's his baby Loretta. She's also the production assistant for the channel. She's letting me know that we need to be careful with our Mana Crypt triggers, but I was telling her that we're going to choose Tails, and that we've got a lot of life, so we don't have to worry about it. But typically, she gets a little bit worried sometimes. So, all right, so let's go Frantic Search. We're going to go with Waste. Yeah, I kind of like that. I mean, I don't want this spell to get countered at all. In fact, that just doesn't sound fun. And so let's go Frantic Search. It's going to be one. It's going to be Thought Vessel. Draw 2 cards and discard 2 cards. Yeah. Definitely get rid of Mother of Runes. We actually do. Yeah, we don't want to get rid of Fumigate. So we'll find another white source. Untap Waste, untap Island, and then click OK. Then anything else, pass it back over to our opponent. Play against Vorel. Vorel, then for a Simic activation, double the number of each kind of counter on target artifact, creature, or land. So there we go. We did cover both commanders. Give a quick shout out to our sponsors, MTGOTraders. On a serious note, if you're injured by a big rig, call Azor the Ban Hammer. He's going to get you the most money for your case, and whatever sort of big rig that was, if that big rig was Riku casting a big spell, whatever that is, hit Azor the Ban Hammer up. He's got your interest in mind over to MTGOTraders. And I'll talk about the Ban Hammer here in a second. Let's talk She's Tails on this one. Lost the flip, and we run into memory lapse. So anything else, we're going to go and pass the turn over to our opponent. But yeah, sure, check out MTGOTraders. Also, let's give a quick shout out to ingaming.com/Jolt. If you go to ingaming.com/Jolt, you'll be able to it'll apply a coupon code that will do two things. One of those things is going to make you happy because you get a playmat. The other thing is going to make the channel happy because part of that goes back to the channel. So there we go. Went on both. And while you're over there, search Jolt539 to see some of my cool playmat designs that I've done. And also, last but not least, I started a Patreon. So if you like to contribute to the Patreon, if you like to make sure that content like this sticks around and support cool content like this, or if you'd like to get your hands on some sweet tokens, get your name in the credits, or D, all of the above, hey, head on over there. Have some fun. All right, so we've got Plaxcaster, Frogling. Yeah, I think we're okay with that. And but yeah, there's a link down in the description below. And if you're keeping score at home, guess what? It's officially free time. Let's have some fun. So with the Azor the Banehammer, we're going to talk about that here in a second. Let's go and choose Tails on this one. We are, there we go, 1 for 3 on our Mana Crypt triggers, which feels a little bit better. And let's go for this Ponder. And also, Ponder alert, if you didn't know, there's a guy in the background on Ponder. He's been staring at you since M10, so pretty spooky. Yeah, we want both of these. We do need to find some more white sources, but, well, do we really want Force of Will that bad? I mean, we're kind of banking on a Fumigate. So, you know, let's put both of these. Yes, we're going to shuffle our library. And then Snapcaster Mage, which can be Frantic Search. Yeah, we're okay with that. So, anything else, we're going to pass the turn over our opponent. But yes, with the Azor the Banehammer. So there's a local lawyer here in Texas. His name's Jim Adler, and he's the Banehammer. Whenever I would stay home from school during the summer, when I was a little kid in school, there was just a ton of commercials with him just yelling at the TV, yelling at you that if you're injured to give him a call because he's the Banehammer. And yeah, it's just, I just got tired of it. I was like, why is he just constantly yelling at me? And so then one day I was like, you know what? He's got to retire at some point. Like, he's not gonna. Yeah, I think we want to memory lapse this. And we can put it on top of our opponent's library because we just want to cash in just a little bit of extra card advantage right now. Yeah, we'll put it on top because that's what they're going to rip into next turn. We kind of want to keep this Mana Crypt around just for a little bit. You know, the worst case scenario, we're going to be going Snapcaster on Frantic Searchers to dig a little bit deeper. But yeah, he's always yelling at you, and especially if you're injured by a big rig, he wants to help you out. And so I had this thought of like, you know, one day he's going to retire. We don't have to worry about him anymore. Let's go and choose Tails on that. Lost the flip. I think we're 1 for 4 on those bad boys. And Cryptic Command, which we can't cast right now. So we're just going to have to end up going for a value play. So let's go Mana Crypt. It's going to be Snapcaster Mage coming down. We're going to go for that last little Frantic Search. Now we do have 2 cards in the hand, which will be nice. It's going to allow us to dig a little bit deeper. See if our opponent wants to be nice and give us a counter from that. Nope. Okay, fine. We will keep that. We will remember that. Petra's Farm, remember. So we're going to end up going... Yeah, because either way, we're going to tap down Thought Vessel. All right, so we're going to go Frantic Search, Flashback. That's going to allow us to untap our lands. There we go. And there we go. Hit a couple more lands. So I guess what we'll end up doing... We don't necessarily need Homeward Path, and then we're going to get hit with Reclamation Sage on Mana Crypt, which is not the end of the world, so I still kind of like leaving up this Fumigate. So we'll get rid of Cryptic Command, untap a couple lands. There we go. We could untap one of theirs, but since they didn't give us a counter from Plaxcaster, we're not going to do that. We'll have Mystic Gate come down, and then anything else, pass it back over to our opponent. So there we go. So, long story short, I was like, man, he's going to retire one day, and then I don't have to listen to him yelling at me. And then a few years ago, I was watching TV, and then his son's on there, and his son kind of looks like him too, and then he was yelling that he's the new Texas Hammer. So it's kind of like in the medieval days when, like, your family had a sword that you would hand down along generations to generations. I could think this is what the Adler family does. They just hand the Banehammer down from, you know, one father to the next son or the next daughter, whoever's going to carry the family name on, making sure that you stick around after a big rig accident and get as much money as possible. And so it's kind of like a family heirloom as that sledgehammer gets passed along to the son. And he's yelling too. In his commercials too. And in fact, if you want to check some of these commercials out, I'm going to try my best to leave a video link down in the description below. But just type in Jim Adler, Texas Hammer, and you'll see what's going on. But anyway, that's Azor. So now we don't have Jim Adler's hammer. It's a very mystical hammer. It's used in a lot. All right, so we've got a clock on our opponent. It's going to be Sword of Truth and Justice. Luckily, we've got a reset button. That's going to be Fumigate. So, and then, oh, there we go. Run into Soul Ring. So we will take that. I know, that was a good draw. We were hoping for a land or some mana rocks. That's our production assistant right there. So let's have Soul Ring come down. I know she's excited. She's ready to blow some stuff up. Let's swing in for 2. She is just like her father. She likes to see a clear and concise board state. So we're going to swing in for 2. It's going to knock them down to 28. And then let's go. We could try to let our opponent catch Vorel, but at this point, yeah, I'm not wild about that. So let's go Island. I know. Look at, here it goes. Here it goes. Are you watching? Fumigate, we're going to gain 4 life too, baby. That's pretty good. I know, isn't that? All right, there we go. We go to 17, they go to 28, and then we'll pass the turn to them. So hopefully we can get ourselves into a position to where we can cash in some card draw and go for a few counter. I'm trying to put our pacifier in right now. There we go, baby. There you go. All right, so at this point, we're just trying to hopefully catch some sort of card advantage, or at least be able to get Azor down, because what that's going to allow us to do is that's going to allow us to cast Azor down. So, and then go for that Sphinx Revelation. But yeah, check out Jim Adler, and also if you're injured by a big rig, I don't know a lot about lawyers, and if you're in the Texas area, go for it. One of the things that really annoys me about Jim Adler is that he does Spanish commercials too, and there's just no pronunciation on his lawyer commercials when he does it in Spanish. He goes, "Yo soy el abogado Jim Adler," and it's just so. It's like, come on, man, just put a little bit of effort into pronunciation, as far as foreign language. But anyway, it's enough about Jim Adler. All right, so we run into Windswept Heath. Let's go for that. That's going to allow us to finally get down the Banhammer. Yeah, I agree too. Let's grab ourselves a Tundra. Let's bring Azor down. Let's make sure that we get our filter mana tapped down first. There we go. Okay, there we go. So the production assistant is safely in my lap now. She wanted to be picked up, so she's got a front row seat right now. And if you don't know, my production assistant Loretta, she's coming up on 4 months. My wife and I had her right after Thanksgiving, and it's just been a lot of fun. This is our first child and first grandchild for my parents, and so everybody's just having fun with her. And she's getting to that age now to where she's just really. Protection. Oh yeah, they got protection white and blue, so we're just going to let that go on through. And the main thing with Sword of Truth and Justice is it's just a proliferate trigger, so we can kind of dodge that at this point right now. What we need to do is we need to hope that our opponent doesn't really have any sort of follow-up answer after this swing. If they don't, I feel like we're in a pretty good spot. But we'll see what they're going to be tapping out for. This is going to be stunt double. Okay, that's going to be Azor coming down. I did not expect that. So our opponent's got their very own Banehammer, but it's not as good as our Banehammer. The only downside is that with that stunt double being a 7/7 and now an 8/8, it's going to make it a little bit hard for old Banehammer to swing across. We can still Sphinx Rev a little bit. I mean, we might as well because we need to gain some life. I think, yeah, we're going to need to do that. So that does put us at 11 next turn. But we're going to get some life gain, so either way, that's going to be okay. So let's go and swing in at our opponent. We're going to definitely tap out for that Azor the Lawbringer. Yes, we will. And let's do this first. Let's add. So what we're going to be able to do with this is at least cash in 4 life gain and 4 card draw. That's not exactly what we wanted to see. We wanted to see a little bit of action, so hopefully we can rip into a board wipe sometime soon. But we do have Chrome Mox that we can get down, and then let's see, anything else for the turn. We do have the land drop to go for. We have no thing to reveal off of that. And anything else, I think we're just going to go and pass the turn over to our opponent. So we are looking at 11 coming across. That does put us down to 5. And so we'll see what we can do about that. We do have a lot of mana rocks in our hand, which is not the best thing that we're looking for at this point right now, but if we do run into a board wipe, we've got Wrath of God in here. We've got a couple different options. We've got Detention Sphere, so hopefully we can just kind of rip into a little bit more action on our side and take care of it. And also Prophet of Krufix. So if you're wondering what is that doing on the battlefield, our opponent, not our opponent, but I'm playing 1 versus 1 commander, and that's a different format than what you play at the gaming store. For the most part, it's the same, but there's a few cards like Prophet of Krufix that are unbanned in 1v1 commander. Why they are, I'm not entirely sure, because you would think that something with that power level, you wouldn't keep it out of 1 versus 1 commander instead of saying like, hey, if you don't have an answer for it, then good game. But same thing with Primetime. It's It is what it is. All right, so there's not really much we can do at this point right now. Our opponent's going to get it on this one, so good game to our opponent. Unfortunately, we weren't able to close that one out. We just got a little bit mana screwed early at the beginning of the game, which didn't help us out, but our opponent just kept some consistent pressure with Vorel in a Sword of Truth and Justice, and that was a very nice stunt double play by our opponent. So good game to then, and if you enjoyed the video, hey, like and subscribe. Thanks, bye.